So hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Connections, the DU podcast. And today I am joined by McKay Livers with Alabama One Call 811. And we're going to be talking about the importance of 811 and what it means to our utilities as well as to you. Welcome, McKay. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
So tell us what's so important about those three little numbers that we all hear about so often.
What's so important about them is it's super simple process, but what's so important is one of the goals that we try to talk about is protecting against injuries, outages, and loss of life. So really, that's what's the importance is sometimes that gets skirted a little bit. Sometimes folks don't think to do it, but it's a very simple process that they can utilize that really can help protect them. It can protect their neighborhood and the others around them. So very, very important. It's the Underground Utilities Notification Number for the state of Alabama. Very simple process, free process, still gets underutilized. And we really have to fight that and encourage people to use it on a regular basis.
So when should they use it? When are they supposed to, or actually by law, supposed to dial 811?
Any type of excavation that goes on, whether that's a homeowner, whether that's an excavator, it doesn't matter. The amount of utilities that are going underground nowadays, I just emphasize on a regular basis, anytime that you're dealing with any kind of penetration of the earth and digging, that my recommendation, because of the fact that it's free, use the thing, utilize that service.
And that really applies to, we always say jobs big or small. It really doesn't matter what you're doing around the house, for example, you need to go ahead and call that. And
Absolutely.
How soon should they call it before they plan to dig?
So what the law states is it's 2 working days, not including day of notification. To break that down a little bit more, I always try to do that just to get everybody to understand. The day of notification is the day that you call or that you enter that locate request online. We have a homeowner portal, which is very, very simple on the website as well. That you can just click on homeowners, you answer about 10 or 12 questions, and it provides you that request ticket. But you enter your locate request that particular day, and then it's 2 working days after that. So if we entered, for example, on Monday, you'd wait all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, should be marked by 7 a.m. on Thursday.
So what happens when that consumer or that business owner dials 811? What's the process?
So the process is very, very simple. About 65% of our tickets actually come in online through the Alabama 811 web portal. That's typically your professional excavators that are entering a large amount of tickets on a regular basis. But for just the everyday citizen that wanted to utilize the service, you dial into 811. One of our agents would receive that notification. We would ask you a series of required questions with address, location, where exactly you're needing the lines marked. That process on average takes just 2 to 4 minutes. We process all that information, we get it, we map that information, and then we send a notification out to all the utilities that would be affected by your excavation. So you make that one notification to us, we verify, we send that information out to those utilities, and then those utilities have the 2 working days to respond and come out there and mark it in what's considered the paint markings or the flags. Most of the times what you see.
Now, does the person who's called in, do they have some responsibility to mark where they're going to be digging?
So by law right now, there's not a requirement for that homeowner or for that professional excavator to utilize and provide any information as far as a physical marking. But however, I will tell you, and what we emphasize on any type of excavation training we do, whether it's homeowners, whether it's excavators, professional excavators, the use of white paint is such a great tool. It helps you to narrow down that scope of work for a locator that might not be familiar with that area or that location. So if you can use white paint, if you can use some kind of an indicator, a white flag, if you've got a tree stump in the middle of the yard and really you just need a 20-foot radius, then you don't have to call in and say, hey, I want the whole front yard located. I'm doing work within 20-foot radius of this tree stump, and use that. So the more information, the more detailed information that you can provide like that, it's so much simpler for a locator, for a utility company who is not going to be familiar with your home to be able to get some printed information and be able to narrow down where they need to go mark for you. Because obviously the more information you provide, the more accurate your mark is going to be too.
Very good. And so once the utility company comes out, in DU's case, we're going to mark water, wastewater, electricity, and natural gas. Those are color coded. We don't have to go into the details. We're going to put the color codes on the screen, but what's the importance of knowing what's where?
So color coded helps you because obviously you want to identify, but also too, part of it is there can be multiple utilities that operate the same type of facility within an area, And so it's also good that not only to color code, but to put some separation marks or to understand who's what. And usually those utilities will mark on the ground and mark, AT&T, mark Decatur Utilities, whatever it is, put a little initial, but they don't always. But the color codes to help you identify specifically your gas lines, your water lines, your sewer, your power, and obviously with some of those, you're going to take a little bit more extra caution and care when you're working within those areas for sure.
So let's talk about that. Some of the dangers of not calling and trying to dig around these underground lines. Obviously, electricity, very dangerous situation digging into that. What are some other hazards that you can get into?
We talk about electricity. We talk about gas. Just by the nature of the product, they are very safe products when they are protected and people follow the rules. And that's one thing that I try not to do a lot of scare tactics. I try to make sure that they just understand that if those things are disrupted, you've got a problem. But otherwise they're very safe by nature. There's a lot of steps and regulations that utilities have to do on a regular basis. And so, power, obviously the possibility of electrocution, with gas, the possibility of that gas dissipating, and there is an explosive nature to it. But then you kind of talk about some of the others that you really don't think about, and it's like, well, if you damage a water main, you're putting your entire neighborhood out of water.
Yep.
Regardless of the utility, I just try to emphasize that you make sure that you're following all the proper steps. And there's other steps besides just getting the lines marked that are outlined in the Alabama 811 excavation manual, that are under the Alabama dig law. And so there's some steps as far as working safely around those, and there's lots of recommendations that we provide and that are available on our website and many other places as well.
So let's go back to the kind of the residential side, the consumer who's maybe putting up a mailbox or something on their property or flower beds or whatever. They've called in, they did their part, they got it marked. Now they're getting ready to dig. How should they approach that dig now that the lines are marked?
So the number one cause of excavation damage is still no call. Is still homeowners, weekend warriors, and also professional excavators that do not utilize the 811 system at all. But number two involves when you're working with an 18 inches on either side of those markings, you must use non-invasive equipment, and there is a definition that addresses non-invasive equipment. It addresses what you can use. That means hand tools, shovels, post hole diggers, things like that, where you actually have to locate that location and depth of that line before you can proceed with any kind of mechanized equipment. So what happens is a lot of times folks see the marking on the ground, they go 5 or 6 inches over, and they think that they're safe with that mini excavator or that bobcat, and the next thing they know, you're pulling something out of the ground and you're rupturing it. So we try to emphasize, and that happens on the homeowner level all the time. Yeah. But even on a homeowner, for example, even if you're just using hand tools, even simple steps is making sure that you're paralleling those post hole diggers along those markings. Don't go perpendicular. So those kind of little small things. When you've got a utility in that area, scratch that surface and really dig back. Don't just go in there and start throwing that shovel in the ground. So those are the kind of things that cause those damages. Unfortunately, too, and the reality is nowadays there are some of these communications and fiber optic lines that are not buried to a great depth. Yeah. And you will find them very quickly. So another reason why we emphasize, because they're probably going to want you to pay to fix them.
I was going to mention that utility companies are going to send you a bill if you damage the infrastructure in most cases. So number one, the danger aspect, but number two, if you damage something, tear it up, you're going to get a pretty expensive bill to have that repaired.
Absolutely.
So that's just another reason to make sure you follow this
law.
Well,
and there's calculations for lost service, for gas and water and fiber. Now that fiber is being installed with the repair techniques that it takes versus going in and repairing a copper type, former type communication line, there's a lot more expense involved. And I've actually, whether I wanted to or not, seen some pretty hefty bills for some very minute damages.
So McKay is all outfitted here in his 811 pullover, but you also have.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Usually, typically I've got to, I'm going to sport my Alabama 811 socks as well. So I got those boogers on today, and that's a pretty regular. It's one of my little giveaways that I like to kind of bring to meetings and keep people involved. But I typically got them on if I'm doing some kind of an 811 related event.
That's awesome. So anything you want to share that we didn't cover, or just
no? I mean, be honest with you, I just kind of tell you that Decatur Utilities has always been a great partner, been a good supporter. So we appreciate that very much. We always we've got a lot of great people, a lot of great utilities that we work with on a regular basis. So I do thank you for that. Any information as far as, if they need to go and obtain information about Alabama 811, everything is hung off of that al811.com website. So just lowercase al811.com. That has a copy of that excavation manual, those color codes.
Yeah.
It's got an excavator training course for professional excavators, but homeowners can take it as well. So got lots of tools. Any questions, anything like that, just please reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. And of course, reach out to Cater and they know how to get in touch with me.
That's right. So we appreciate McKay being with us today, and just take seriously that the law to call 811, and let's all keep our infrastructure safe and keep these utilities flowing.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.